Welcome to the Mind Your Wedding Business podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Dennis. In addition to leading the charge at Wedding IQ, I also run Fantasy Sound Event Services, a lighting and entertainment company based in Livermore, California, that I founded over 30 years ago. Each week on this podcast, you'll hear thought-provoking and empowering interviews with wedding professionals who have found success in the industry. If you're a business-minded wedding pro who loves love, but also cares about their bottom line, buckle up and get ready to learn from a new industry expert each week. All right, folks, welcome to another episode of Mind Your Wedding Business. I'm here with Kaitlyn Blair of Virtually Vital. Welcome, Kaitlyn. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great. I'm super
Good.
excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you as well. And we're going to be talking about the follow-up formula. And before we do, Kaitlyn, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how we got you here today?
Yeah, so I'm Kaitlyn Blair, and I am a system specialist for wedding pros. So I'm only one of 19 certified HoneyBook pros. If you've heard of HoneyBook, that's awesome. If not, that's okay. But I mainly work with wedding pros to optimize your workflows. So it's more than just, sending emails here and there. It's strategic, it's automated, it's efficient. So I work with you to make it as efficient as possible. And I will also connect you with some of my friends who are like email specialists, like for your newsletters or web designers, all of that. So I have lots of other wedding pro friends. So yeah.
We all need some wedding pro friends. So
Yes.
all
Yeah.
right. And then I also noticed on your bio, you also work with people in Dubsado and other stuff, not
Mhm.
just HoneyBook as well.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to be jumping into our topic today. It's the follow-up formula. Most wedding pros know they should, and it's in all capitalized on my little one sheet here, should be following up, but are afraid of feeling too pushy or simply forget to do so. So Kaitlyn, can you give us a quick version of we know you help wedding pros, but what problems are you solving for them right now?
Yeah. So the biggest thing that I have heard is they know they should be doing X, Y, and Z, but they just don't. They don't have the time. They don't have the energy. So yeah, one of the big things that I don't think people realize is how important a follow-up is. Some people do know, which is great. And then some people they're scared about how it may come across. They know they can make it automated, but they have all these, well, what if scenarios? So then they just don't do it. So I think there's a lot of fear around follow-ups and automations in general, just trying to make things more streamlined and efficient for them. I would say that's probably the biggest thing that I've seen.
All right, perfect. So why do you think so many wedding pros are struggling with the follow-up, even though they know they should be doing it or it is important?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's a mental hurdle because a lot of times, yeah, they just feel like it's so salesy and that's not their brand. That's not how they want to come across. And my argument to that is, how many times do you need a reminder to schedule a doctor's appointment or a hair appointment, whatever? You're not being salesy. You're just making sure you're on the top of their mind, because especially as a bride, planning a wedding, life can be crazy. So making sure that you're still just getting in touch with them. And then of course we can be strategic about how, but just do something. And then a lot of times I'll see people who they'll just manually follow up with every person and they get so many leads, and then eventually they'll forget or something will happen and then they just don't get to those people. So that can be really hard for them. So making sure that there's some sort of system in place to make sure that people are getting those follow-ups, those reminders, as you could say, and getting over that mental hurdle. Because one of the things I like about automations is you're not thinking about it. So you're not feeling all the time, oh, I'm being salesy or I'm being pushy. No, the automation is doing it. So as long as you and then run away, and it'll do it for you. So yeah.
I like that. And I like that you called it a reminder instead of follow-up, because then
Yeah.
maybe it, like you said, it could be a mindset thing,
Hmm.
where they feel maybe it's not as
salesy if it's just,
Yeah.
hey, reminder, I'm here. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's a big mental thing.
yeah.
That's what I found.
All right, Caitlin, where do you think the fear of being too pushy actually comes from?
Oh, that's a good question. Just I feel like since COVID, the wedding industry's kind of gotten an interesting rap for maybe being not too expensive, but like everything right now just seems to be wanting your money. And so I think you guys don't want to feel like one of those people.
Mhm.
Um, so I think that's where it comes from. But at the end of the day, this is your business. They are inquiring with you. They're interested, and something probably just came up. So just remind them. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. And, COVID, yeah, it has really changed the wedding industry,
Yeah.
100% feel I actually got asked to be on Judge Judy because of, COVID
Wow.
because over a deposit,
My
over
gosh.
over a retainer, so
Did you do it?
I did not do it, obviously. So, but yeah,
Wow. That's
yeah, 'cause
crazy.
yeah, and the guy that was, pursuing it was a lawyer. So
Oh
that's the
my
bet.
gosh.
Yeah, yeah, anyway. We ended up in small claims court, and we ended up settling on, like, half of their deposit, but anyway, it was
Yeah.
long story, but, like, COVID was I feel like it was something we don't ever wanna remember again, so,
Yeah.
yeah, so
No, and yeah, not just the wedding, and it didn't just affect the wedding industry, but yeah, just everything. I feel like now it's just like on Instagram, when I'm just scrolling, half of it is just ads. So,
yeah, it's
I think they just don't wanna seem like one of those people that just wants your money, you know?
yeah, exactly, exactly. Alright, so this is been waiting to ask you this question.
Okay.
So what is the real cost of not following up consistently?
I would say thousands of dollars because
Okay.
let's say you're manually following up. You have some sort of system where you know, "Okay, I haven't heard from so and so, I need to follow up." And then you have a super crazy wedding, and then you take the next day, usually maybe Mondays, you send those follow-ups, but you need to take that day to reset. So Tuesday, you get into your Tuesday routine, and then you miss the 5 people that you're supposed to follow up with. And then if they're inquiring for like $2,500 each, that's $10,000.
Mhm.
Um, so it can really, really add up. So if you have a good follow-up system, again, if you have nothing, don't worry about making it strategic. Just start with something, a little reminder, and then you can add to it later. And then you can also just take note of when are people reaching back out? Is it after the first follow-up or the second follow-up? Are you still getting ghosted afterwards? Like you can do some fun little like research almost about that. But yeah,
Alright,
thousands of dollars.
I love that, and I think you're 100% correct there. People, if you're not asking for the business, you're probably not gonna get the business,
Mhm.
So, I don't know if there's a right answer to this question, but how many follow-ups should wedding pros realistically be sending before giving up on a
Yeah,
lead?
I like that. So, I would it depends on who you talk to. You're gonna get a different answer from every
That's
person.
what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
but I'll tell you my philosophy. So, there was a study, at least the last time I checked, I believe it was from Rain Group, like a sales marketing person company, and they said that it takes 8 touch points to finally get on a call with somebody, and
Mhm,
that's not taking into account, like, the wedding industry where there's a higher investment and things like that. So, not saying 8, but I'm just saying keep that in mind that on average, it will take a lot of touch points to get on a call with somebody, and I think that's for, like, cold calls and stuff, but still. I usually recommend at least 3, and
mhm,
that is for if you're having a consultation and somebody doesn't schedule that with you, have at least 3, and then after you send that contract, have another 3, because
mm,
any type of action that you have the client do, that's a place for them to fall through the cracks.
mhm,
So, you wanna make sure that you're covering that with follow-ups. And you can one of my favorite things to do is add a resource for them, whether that's a blog, like, "Hey, take a look at our recent blog," or "Here's
mhm,
a review from so and so about how we brought her wedding to life." Something to add value to it, But if that stresses you out, just have something first and then add to it. Anytime that you need action done from the client, have 3 follow-ups, a questionnaire or a kickoff call, literally anything. Yeah.
I like that. Power of 3. All right. Want to do more than just listen to the conversation? We're always looking for wedding pros to join us as a guest on the Mind Your Wedding Business podcast. If you have insight, experience, or lessons to share, we want you behind the mic. Apply to be a guest and come mind your business with us. So take us through like an effective follow-up process. What does it actually look like from I got the inquiry through the website, all the way now through booking? Like, what is
Yeah.
an effective way to get us all the way, get us that thousands of dollars we were talking about earlier?
Yes. Okay. So you will want to have a contact form, a way for you to ask questions. And even this you can get strategic with like what types of questions you're asking. So that way you can qualify the lead beforehand because you're going to want to know what their date is. So if you're not available, you can tell them, maybe ask their budget. You can ask, of course, what type of project they're interested in. If you offer more than weddings, if you offer like family sessions or whatever. And then like, you don't want to make it too long though, because then people aren't going to fill it out. Like if they're inquiring with 5 different people that all have super long text blocks.
Well,
Yeah.
I was going to say there was for a while there was like everyone was telling you less is more. And now I'm hearing you got to put back a little bit more question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there a magic number to have on there or?
I wouldn't say magic number. It's more of the types of questions.
Okay.
So you could have like a drop down for them to just quickly choose if their budget, like a range for their budget. You could have a multiple choice. I would just say try to limit the amount of text boxes because that again
Slows them down.
and it's time for them to fill it out. So I've also had people who are scared to ask questions because they just want it, as fast as possible. So they just ask their name and what can we do to make your event special? I'm like, no, you need to qualify them first, right?
Yeah, I'm going to say you got to get some kind of information because what if they're not, like you said, date is probably the biggest one because if you're already booked, that makes sense.
Or their budget's like $500 and you're like, I'm not working with you.
You're
offer something super small. So that's the first thing. And then I always recommend some sort of automatic response. So you're going to want a system to do this. Of course, I use HoneyBook and Dubsado, and that's what I recommend. But some sort of automatic response to lay out the expectations and let them know, hey, I got your information and I will be responding within 2 to 3 days or whatever time frame you want to say. Because when you follow through, you're building that trust from the very beginning. The only thing is if you don't, like, let's say you're super ambitious and you say, I'm going to respond to you within 3 hours and they inquire at 1 a.m. or something.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I know. Like people can be crazy. Like that can hurt your trust. So make sure that whatever time frame you're doing, you're actually following through. But again, let's lay out the expectations and we want to start the relationship off on a good note, lay that out. And then
is there a good time for that?
I usually say around 48 hours because that gives you some breathing room. Like you're capturing a wedding and then you can even be more specific saying like during business hours and then list your business hours. And then if you're out of office, they'll HoneyBook and Dubsado. There's both out of office settings. So you can just do that and then it'll solve all the problems. And then, like I was saying earlier, have a resource for them, either your Instagram or website, or, I mean, they inquired on your website, but maybe your blog, or if you have here's a 10 checklist things to have for your wedding. I don't know. So a freebie, you can send them that. And then have some email templates ready saying, 1, I'm available. Hey, I'm available for your wedding. Let's hop on a call. I always recommend hopping on a call, specifically like a face-to-face call, because you're building that relationship. And a phone call, I mean, that could let the client, when you're on a Zoom call or Google Meet, whatever, you're getting their undivided attention. whether like for a phone call, they could be driving. They could be, I mean, I've been on calls with people going through the drive-through once. I was
I
like,
know it's crazy because I meet with couples all the time, and they're in their car, and I'm like, how are
yeah,
we going to have a productive and
yeah,
me show you photos for what you're asking for while
hmm
you're driving down the highway? Anyway,
yeah, yeah.
pet
So
peeve, pet peeve, pet peeve. Sorry.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's always, it's not going to solve it 100%, but it can definitely limit it having a face.
Yeah, I agree.
And if you use HoneyBook or Dubsado, it has a scheduler for you to use, so you don't have to use Calendly. But if you already use Calendly, that's fine. You can just put that in there. Um, and I recommend having some sort of link so that way you're not going back and forth with the person, with the lead saying, hey, does 9 a.m. tomorrow work for you? And then you're waiting
Mhm.
on a response from them and all of that. Because again, any action that you need from the client, you need some sort of follow up there. So trying to limit that. Um, and then some other email templates I like to have is if you're unavailable, like, hey, sorry, we're booked. Here's a list of my vendor friends. And I sometimes, depends on the situation, but I like to have an email template for if asking if their date's flexible. So whether maybe it's a courthouse wedding or something and saying, hey, I'm booked on that day, but the week after I'm available. Are you open to
Oh, that's a good idea.
yeah, so just something like that. And then at least you have it. You might not use it very often, but you have it. And
Yeah,
then an email template for if they're under budget. If they're saying, "Yeah, my budget's $1,000," and you're like, "My packages start at 5."
yeah.
So something like that, just saying, "Thank you for thinking of us. Our packages do start at this rate, which we notice is a bit higher than what you had put in the form. However, if you do offer like a la carte options, you can put that in there. But if not, then maybe you could put vendor referrals, whatever." So yeah, those are the the email templates I recommend trying to get them to schedule that call with you. And then we have the 3 follow-ups. So making it personal, so having things populate like their name or um, their wedding date, whatever, like those things, so it feels less like a template.
Yeah.
And then you could also, like I was saying earlier, have some fun case studies or reviews here and there, or if you're a videographer, link to a hype video or something, like get them excited. Anything like that. And then you have the consultation call. You could even, if you wanted to have a confirmation that they've scheduled their consultation call, saying, hey, thanks so much. We're super excited. You could have, I'm sorry, I'm like, I'm
Mhm.
blabbling on about all these,
No, this is great. This is good information, Kaitlyn.
but another thing that I like to do is having a hype email. That's what I call it. A day before their call, getting them excited. Again, if you have a video, this is a place to put it, saying, hey, we're super excited. Here's a video or pictures. Here's a gallery, whatever. Just some way to get them excited to hop on the call, because we want to limit
Mhm.
ghosting for that call, because sometimes people will inquire and then just not cancel, or they won't show up, which is annoying. So that's a way to limit it.
Mhm.
um, and then after the consultation, you'll send that contract and invoice, getting them booked, and then having an email there that again lays out the expectations, saying, hey, super excited. This, if you want, you can expire it after a certain amount of time. So saying this is going to expire after a week or a month, make sure to fill it out. And then have 3 follow-ups in between that expiration phase. So first one saying, hey, checking in. And then second one, you could be a little bit more strategic with, again, hey, here's why people book with us. Here's blah, blah, blah. If you want to hop on another call, let's do it. And then the third one saying your proposal is going to expire soon or tomorrow,
Mhm.
next week, whatever. And then I even like to do a fourth one saying your proposal's expired. If something changed, I call it a proposal because that's what HoneyBook calls it, but your contract and invoice have expired. If something's changed, let me know and I can reactivate it. Um, and then a confirmation email saying, yay, you're officially booked. Let's get started, whether that's a kickoff call or we'll be in touch three months before the wedding with a questionnaire, whatever that is. So
Mhm.
yeah, that was a lot of info, but
No, I know, but it was all great info because I think everyone has a different from inquiry to booking process. And I
Mhm.
think people can take from that what works for them, and
Yeah.
because if you could be a caterer and it's going to be
Yeah.
different. You could be a photographer and your
Mhm.
process is way different because you're offering an engagement session part. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Like, there's so many different things that are different, but I think people can kind of get the gist of that and kind of really kind of
Yeah.
go through there. One thing you mentioned, like, the budget part.
Mhm.
This could be a whole nother like podcast
Yeah.
episode, but like, what are your thoughts on having like pricing ranges or some kind of pricing on the website?
Mm. I uh, okay, this is a good question because
Yeah.
as a past bride, I loved having some sort of starting range, and that's usually what
Yeah.
I recommend people. Not having nothing, but not saying, "Here's exactly my pricing."
Yeah.
But just saying it starts my full planning package starts at 7,500 or my partial starts at 2,500, whatever, because then that gives you flexibility if you're on the call and they're adding XYZ for you to raise your prices and get paid accordingly. Because then if you're like, "Oh, my pricing is 2,500," and then I don't know, I've had people have a yes problem saying yes to everything. So I'm like, that will help not get you locked in with that
Well,
25
and
price.
I think I'm a big believer in exactly what you said, and it just qualifies the client. So
Mhm.
you're not wasting their time and you're
Yeah.
not wasting your time
Mhm.
chasing something that's not going to work.
I've had people who want to have a more detailed pricing guide that they send during that automatic response. So they've inquired with the contact form. You're saying, "Hey, thanks, we got your information. In the meantime, take a look at our pricing guide with more." Like maybe they inquired for weddings, and then that pricing guide has your different wedding packages in there. So that way they they know more of what to expect, you know? And then with HoneyBook and Dubsado, you can allow them to choose. So that way
Ooh,
you can see what they're interested in, so that's
I
fun.
love that. All right. What's the biggest mistake, wedding pros make in their like follow up emails or communication, you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, there's a few things. One thing that I do hear all the time, are p it's with people who they get leads all the time, and they're like, "I don't need a follow-up because I don't wanna chase them," you know, like,
Hmm.
"I already have so many leads coming in. If they don't want me, then I'm not gonna fight for it," you know? Yeah.
That's a
So,
bad idea. That's a
yeah,
bad approach.
yeah. So I've heard that many times actually. So I always say, "Okay, but we should just one, please, like one follow-up." Um,
Yeah.
so that just not getting in that mindset because things can change super fast or you can scale, have a team member take it on. Like if you're a photographer, have a team member do another shoot like
You
that
can
you're
get a virtual assistant that will
yeah,
do that. Yeah, there's lots of
like
different avenues that won't
yeah,
cost you a lot of money, and like you were saying earlier, the return is thousands and thousands of
yeah,
dollars. So,
yeah. So, I wouldn't cocky isn't the word, but being too used
arrogant, man,
to
I don't know.
yeah, just being
Yeah.
too used to having an influx of leads. Um, so just making sure there's a system for everything. As a business owner, you need to have a system for when you don't get those
Well,
influx of leads.
and I think our current client needs a lot, like you were saying
Mm,
earlier, they need a lot of touch points. They're
mhm.
not, so if you go in there,
Really
you
slow.
can't, we can't do business like we were 5, 10 years ago. You got to continue to evolve your business based on our clientele, especially in the wedding industry, because our clientele is ever changing every year. Every year we get a different, group of couples, and their communication style is going to be different than what we've been dealing with. And, you
Mhm.
know, I think that's why, some couples want to talk to you through Instagram because that's
Yeah,
where they live. Some couples want to
yeah,
text, some couples want to, email is, probably the least of their, they would
yeah.
rather,
That's
yeah.
what I was gonna say too. People, they like these systems, HoneyBook and Dubsado, are built around email automations and not text
Hmm.
automations. So they're like, I'll just text them to follow up, or I'll just, yeah, send them a DM or whatever. But to build efficiency and to build a business that scales, you need to have a system in place.
Yeah. You
can't
really do.
probably doing that all the time. So when they fill out that contact form, you can say, I will be emailing you um, for communication. But if something comes up, if there's an emergency, or like later on, happy wedding week, you can say, here's my number, whatever. So I think just trying to like we need to cater to our clients 100% while balancing efficiency, you know? So if there's a
Yep.
system, if there's a tool that I know HoneyBook and Dubsado are working on automated texts. uh,
Yeah. I mean,
so
it'll be here before we know it. I
yeah,
really, yeah.
yeah.
It,
So
we switched over as a company. We switched over to Zoom
yeah,
because Zoom allows us to text with the clients. And I know
yeah,
there's other texting platforms out there. I don't think there's a right or wrong, but I
yeah,
really think if you're not looking towards having some kind of text platform, you're going to
yeah,
be, you know,
100%.
going to be left behind.
Want to share your expertise with the wedding industry? Wedding IQ is written by wedding pros for wedding pros, bringing real insight, education, and experience to the forefront. If you have something to say and a passion for helping others grow, we'd love to feature your voice on the blog. Head to weddingiq.com to learn more about becoming a contributor.
So, how can automation help with the follow up without making communication feel impersonal? Because I feel like that's the hurdle is everyone feels like letting a HoneyBook, Dubsado, or any kind of
Yeah,
CRM,
oh my
17 hats, whoever you use, because everything in the wedding industry, it's like, oh, it's customized and
mhm.
personal and hospitality, but there's also a little bit of a system to that.
Yeah, so the big thing is having those little automated fields to populate, so their name and their partner's name. You can make your own. So if you have a question saying, "Do you have any pets?" You can insert their pets' names or
Mm,
whatever. Having those throughout everything, the email templates, any files that you send, that will help a lot. And then I always recommend having some sort of balance with automations because I've worked with people who want zero automations and people who want everything automated. And I think in order to have a great client experience, you need a balance. So
mm.
that would look like an email popping up 2 months before the wedding, but instead of it automatically sending, you can edit it before it goes out. So you can add your own little blurb or say for that available email template saying, "Hey, like maybe they found you through their sister's wedding." You could say, "I
Mhm.
love working with your sister. It was so fun." Like having those templates that allow you to edit before it goes out, that's the balance with automations and the fields too. That helps with any ones that are automatically going.
I like that. Good idea. All right. So, what are some of the follow up touch points most wedding pros are like completely missing?
The consultation call, that's a big one because I found they either remember the consultation call or the contract, not both. So some people don't have a consultation call, which is like it's fine, but I always recommend having one to build that relationship. Those are the big two. But then of course, if you're sending them a questionnaire, like you're a DJ and you're sending them a music questionnaire and you haven't gotten it after a certain point, you should have some sort of follow-up there.
Hmm.
Or if you're having a kickoff call, maybe people aren't gonna schedule that right away. They're like, "Oh, I'll do it next week." Have a reminder. If it helps you think of it as a reminder, not a follow-up. A reminder,
I
just schedule that kickoff call.
This is something I've gotten out of this is that calling it a follow up is calling it a reminder, and
Yeah, it's
especially because all us Apple people, reminders already
yeah,
built into into our phone, and
yeah,
yeah, no, it feels less like you said, used car salesman ish,
mhm,
by
yeah,
going that route. So
yeah, exactly. So that's the thing I've found the most when I meet with clients is I ask them, "Oh, you have a kickoff call. Do you wanna do a follow-up?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah, I probably should," because 'cause they've had people that don't schedule it. Like, of course, most people will, but
yeah.
some people who might take their time. So, yeah, that's always my big recommendation.
So this is probably not a right answer for
Okay.
this question either. So sorry. So how long should someone wait before following up on an
Yeah.
inquiry or even like a ghosted lead? Is there,
Mhm.
what's the timing of this?
Yeah, that's a good question. I usually recommend between 2 to 4 days in
Okay.
between each, because then you're still at the top of their mind. After a week, maybe they've inquired with other people, or they've just, like, something happened and they're not staying on top of their emails. I don't know. It allows you to stay top of mind between 2 to 4 days, and anything before that might feel a little bit that I've had people be like, "Oh, that feels too much." But it also depends on your cycle, because 'cause I've had people who want the sales cycle to be super fast, so they'll have a follow-up 24 hours after, and I've found the people who are more like, I have leads coming all the time." They're like, "I'll follow up with them 2 weeks after," and I'm like,
Yeah, no,
uh,
that seems they're gonna forget about you, and they probably have hired some other wedding pro has probably already followed up with
yeah,
them a handful of times, and they're the ones
exactly.
that are gonna get the business.
Exactly. So
So,
2 to 4 days I found is a sweet spot in between each. So you can do 3 days, 3 days, 3 days, whatever. But that's my recommendation.
I like it. Alright, what type of messaging tends to convert best in the follow-up communication? Is it, like, being very business, very silly? Is there humor? Like, is there some type of
Yeah,
communication that
that's a good
works best?
question. Yeah. I have found that a mix between professionalism and friendliness.
Mm.
So, you're not being straight salesy. We're like, "Hey, this will give you 10% off if you respond within 12," like, not like that, but you're not being like all exclamation points, super bubbly. So a mix of that, saying, "Hey, we're following up regarding your inquiry, wanted to check in, see how you're feeling. We'd still love to get to know you. Let's go ahead and schedule a call." Um, and yeah, that's what I found the most. But also, it's interesting that when you inquire and you or when somebody inquires and and you follow up, a lot of times they'll say, "Thanks so much for the follow up." Like life got crazy or something like that. They just want some sort of reminder. So
Uh-huh.
it I wouldn't say there's a right answer, but I've just found that the mix of being professional yet still approachable and friendly gets the most. So, yeah.
Makes sense. Alright, so you've talked about HoneyBook and Dubsado a lot. How can a CRM like HoneyBook or Dubsado make, like, follow-ups easier, more consistent?
Yeah, so the automations, that's like the gold of it. You can automate if they haven't scheduled that consultation call, automatically send that follow-up after 3 days. And then if they do, you can say, "Hey, we're super excited to meet you." 1 day before like, you can automate so much, and that saves you so much time. But I've had people who are afraid of automations, or not afraid, but it gives them anxiety, it overwhelms them. It's completely normal, but they will say, "Well, what if somebody emails me instead of scheduling the call? Like, will the email still go out?" And if that's one of your worries, you can make any step require approval. So that means that it won't automatically go out without
And
you knowing.
you okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's my safety net for those people who get anxious around automations. Yeah,
So it's
so
kinda like a good little crutch, like,
yeah,
yeah, kinda like you wanna automate, but you're afraid of the machine taking
yeah,
over, so therefore you can go, "Okay, yeah, we're in that right process. Click, click,
yeah,
click,
gives
click."
you control. Mhm,
Yeah, yeah. I can see
and
that.
the automations are super helpful, but so are the files, the file aspect, so you can send
Mm,
questionnaires and contracts and invoices and the pricing guide that I was talking about earlier, and you can make it all branded and consistent. So, if you're sending, like, a Canva document of your pricing guide and then a DocuSign for the contract and PayPal for the invoice, it's not consistent, and so it
okay.
builds that legitimacy of your business having those branded files. And it also gives them a better client experience because they're investing a lot. So you want this experience to be good for them. So having those files and it teaches them what to expect and everything with you. So yeah.
Alright. So, is there, like, one simple automation or template that will immediately improve, like, lead conversion? Like, one
Oh,
thing that they can do?
I like that. Um
It's a little bit of a loaded question, I think.
yeah, let's see. A template. I wouldn't say there's one. They come in like a bunch, like
Okay.
at least like 3 or 4.
Okay.
So definitely that I call it the inquiry workflow. So they fill out the contact form and then having automatic response available and a follow-up. If you have those 4, then that will help you immensely.
Mm,
Um, and same with that booking process. So a file that has your contract and invoice, an email saying, here it is, and then a follow up. So those 3, super helpful, super great. But yeah, I mean, you can even have asking for reviews, like have that
oh,
information. And I've had people be like, well, what if I don't want them to have my link? You don't have to. You can edit it before it goes out.
yeah, we all have those weddings where like, don't ask for reviews on this one.
I'm done talking to you after this. Yeah. No, like people will be people. So um yeah, having I say it comes in pairs. So the first email asking them for something to do something and then a follow-up. Those are great.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And the review one, you want to make sure you have to approve it
Yeah,
before it goes out.
exactly.
So, all right. So a lot of us in the wedding industry struggle with ADHD. We're disorganized. We could be a little inconsistent. So when it comes to follow-ups, where should they, is there somewhere where they could just start to get,
Yeah.
you know,
I have 3 siblings that all have diagnosed ADHD, and I'm the only one who doesn't actually. So I think
oh,
it's funny that like I'm organizing. So anyway,
yeah.
I've worked with dozens of people who have ADHD and I grew up around it. There needs to be a balance between like getting into the rabbit hole of like maybe you've never heard of HoneyBook. Now you're like, oh, I really want to learn about this. And then you start and then you just get so overwhelmed that you stop because these they're both they're learning curves and that can be hard for people with ADHD, just kind of staying focused there.
For someone who feels like disorganized or inconsistent with their like follow-ups, like a lot of us in the wedding industry have ADHD and, we're just, you know, overworked,
Mhm.
all stressed out. Is there somewhere they could start with the
Mhm.
follow-up process that just kind of, I guess it's
Yeah.
follow-up light, like just
Yeah.
somewhere to dip their toe in the water?
Yeah. So whether you use HoneyBook or Dubsado or nothing, 17 hats, whatever, just have some sort of email template and start there. You don't need to go making the automations if that overwhelms you. You don't need to get into the shiny object syndrome and the all of that. Just have some sort of follow-up template, even if it's a Google Doc. You can start there and then slowly progress when you feel like you can. So, yeah, that's my recommendation.
I like that. But and it's also too like I feel like the more you follow up with people and the more you're getting bookings from it, I think it's almost like a drug probably. You're gonna
Mhm.
you're gonna want to do it more. You're gonna want to get
Yeah,
more creative with it. You're gonna want to have more fun with
yeah,
that process because you could see it convert.
yeah, 100%. And
Yeah.
yeah, just have something, have some
Yeah.
sort of that's my recommendation.
All right. So I'm someone that has, a strong, follow up, process. So what do you think that communicates to potential clients that, hey, this person's checking in with me. They're constantly communicating with me. What do you think that tells the consumer?
Yeah, so that is all about the client experience I've found, and that's especially these CRMs will help make it consistent across the board. So definitely it shows them that you care, obviously, and it shows them not only that, but the value of what you're doing. So if you have a questionnaire and they haven't filled it out, following up with them shows them, oh, you really care about your job. You really care about doing a good job for my event. So
Hmm.
more than just, oh, they care. Like, no, they care about the event and doing a good job and everything. So, yeah, especially at the beginning too, having those follow-ups. The thing that I just keep coming back to is people feeling like it's too pushy. Like I don't want them to feel that way.
Yeah.
For the most
Yeah.
it's a reminder. So you're just helping them realize, okay, I inquired about photography. I need to make sure that I'm following through with this with booking my photographer. So it helps them stay on track too.
Yeah, well, I think it helps you stay top of mind with the
Yeah,
yeah, with them, and it also looks like you're running a serious business,
yeah,
yeah.
100%.
So that's what I think a lot of us in the wedding industry, we struggle. We're all artists, I always say. We're really good at our art, but we struggle on the business side, and
Mhm,
it's those folks that are really good on the business side tend to be the ones that are booked,
mhm,
more often and constantly, whether they're better or not than, the other
yeah,
person, because they have good systems in place. So,
mhm.
yeah, I don't know. Just my little 2 cents. All right. All right, Caitlin, we made it. Did we miss
Yay!
anything?
I don't think so.
I think we covered it.
Yeah, we talked a lot about all the good stuff.
All the good stuff. All right. So, Caitlin, where can listeners learn more, about you and connect with you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at virtually vital VA, and I'm working on a YouTube channel to make more content
Oh,
about like workflows and kind of just information like this and more tutorials about how HoneyBook and Dubsado work because I think it's so important to be educated about these tools because if you get overwhelmed, then you're gonna stop and all of that. So working on that, hopefully should be dropping soon.
all right. I love it.
Yeah, and then you can find me if you have a question, you can email me hello@virtuallyvital.co, not .com, .co.
All right. And we will have all of Caitlin's information in the show notes as well as the email blast that goes out to say Caitlin's episode's ready to go. So, Caitlin, we can't thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you. This was so fun.
Yeah.
We talked about so many good things. So
Yeah.
um
Well, it was
get
a
to
pleasure
it.
having.
Blown up.
Yeah. We'll make sure we follow up with you and go from there. So, thank you for listening to another episode of Mind Your Wedding Business. We will see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Mind Your Wedding Business, brought to you by Wedding IQ. If you've got a topic you'd love to hear us cover, or if there's an area of your business you're struggling with, let us know and we'd be happy to help. Don't forget to check out our other episodes on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're a fan, we'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe and left a review. It helps more wedding pros find us and learn more from our guests too. Thanks again for listening to Mind Your Wedding Business. We'll catch you next time.